And welcome back, All Sports West New York. Bob McKeown in studio with me now, the athletic director at Niagara County Community College. And many of you may still recognize Bob from his days at Channel 7 back in the day. Those days are getting longer and longer for both of us, actually.
Yes,
so, Bob, thanks for making the drive from Sanborn out here to the lovely, South Towns, Eastern Hills Mall. I don't know if this is South Towns. And especially because the weathermen in this town have basically called for Armageddon, or Gobblergeddon, as John DeShula called it, because of Thanksgiving week. But, it's good to have you here. And, there's a lot of excitement out at N-Trip because let's start with basketball. Bill Beeline came out there a couple years ago, and, of course, his uncle is John Beeline, and there's a lot of excitement, and Bill's done a great job, and we're going to talk about Bill in a second.
Right.
But the women's program has really turned around thanks to a former sports reporter, Nate Butel.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. The women's basketball program has had a resurgence over the last 2 years. We made a coaching change a few years back, actually before last season. We brought in Nate Butel. I've known Nate for years. I've seen him coach. I realized what intensity he brought to the table. I also realized that he's a fantastic recruiter. I don't think anybody knows more Western New York athletes than Nate Butel does. And it shows. His recruitment has been incredible. His intensity has been incredible. The way he approaches practice, the way he approaches games. He's still a student of the game. He likes to teach. He teaches his players to get better every day. And it shows in his record. Last year, he finished in the Final Four in the region. He won 13 games. This year, he's off to an 8-0 start, which is incredibly impressive. I don't believe that NCCC has ever been off to an 8-0 start in women's basketball, so my hat's off to him. And he's getting contributions from different players. He's had one player in returning, in particular, Christine Ripson, who was the NJCA Region 3 Player of the Year last year. So she's back. That helps. And then he's brought in a couple more players. Jacqueline Welch from the Albany area is a good three-point shooter. He's got her on the outside. Jessie DeWaters, she's from Roy Hart High School. You may remember that name from Roy Hart. And he's getting contributions from good minutes from his bench as well. So, things are going very well, and we're very, very pleased with what Nate's done so far.
Of course, the trade-off is that Nate can no longer write those great articles about NCCC like he did in the past. But I'm really impressed with the work because I know that it had been a struggle for the women's program, and to turn it around that quickly, it is impressive.
Well, as you may or may not remember, I coached women's basketball there for 5 years in the past, and it is one of the most difficult sports to recruit for because the pool of high school athletes on the female side, especially in women's basketball, everyone's going after the same athletes. All the local programs here, and we're all going after the same exact athletes. So it's very difficult to bring the athletes to NCCC. They really have to believe in what you're doing. You have to show them that you have a plan and you have a winning tradition. And that's what Nate's done. He coming off his 13 wins last year, he's brought in more recruits this year. He's stronger than ever before. He's got a real strong bench. Christine Ripson's averaging over 20 points a game, 10 rebounds a game. Jacqueline Welch and Jessie DeWaters are both chipping in with double digits as well. And then he's got some great players he brings off the bench, and he's not afraid to bring players in, to get good quality minutes out of them, to spell the stars, so to speak, and then get them back in there. And so he's got a real deep bench, and he's done a nice job.
Now, so he's off to an 8-0 start. Did you win 8 games when you were the coach out there, the women's team?
Over the course of 5 years, I'm not sure.
Total? Just wondering. Now, so let's go shift gears because the men's team also undefeated. Bill Beeline, as we said, Bill has been an impressive coach out there, a young coach. And I've told you this before, I won't be surprised the day I pick up the paper and read that Bill's been scooped up by somebody else because he does a great job. Talk a little bit about the men's program.
The men's program is in incredible hands with Bill Beeline. I mean, last year he won 20 games. This year he's off to an 8-0 start as well. So both our men's team and our women's team are both off to 8-0 starts, which is just unheard of, which is great. What Bill does is he brings a passion to the table similar to what Nate does. He also is an incredible teacher and an incredible recruiter. Does it help that his last name is Beeline? Absolutely, but he also has to follow that up with, there's a lot of pressure because his last name is Beeline, and I think he follows that up with the way he approaches the game, the way he teaches the game, and his players respond to that. His players are in the gym 24/7 when they're not in class, and there you can see Bill on the court right there, constantly teaching, constantly making his players better. And the other thing, too, is he really cares about his athletes off the court as well. He cares about their academics, he cares about their well-being, and he takes care of them. And when a parent sends their athlete here for both Nate and for Bill, they know they're in good hands with both of our coaches. And As far as Bill leaving, I agree with you. I think it's just a matter of time. Like I said, he won 20 games last year, finished in the Final Four in the region. He's already won 8 games this year. It's just a matter of time before I think he gets plucked by somebody, a bigger program. And I think he's ready. I think he's ready to make that leap, and I welcome it. I certainly don't want to lose Bill Beeline, but we want all of our coaches to be successful and move on if that's what they choose to do. And I think any program that grabs him would be a quality choice if they were to go out and grab Bill Beeline.
You know, I got to bring up, I think it was a letter to the editor I saw over the weekend. Somebody complained, you know, that his players, they weren't all local players. And I laugh when I read that type of thing because, well, it's a community college. I mean, everybody enjoys the success of a team, regardless of where the players come from, in my opinion.
Right, and I think if you look at all the rosters from all the colleges, locally and across the country, you'll see that their rosters are made up of not just local kids, but kids from New York City and kids from Syracuse and Rochester. And you have to do that in order to be competitive, especially at the Division II level like we are. And I think that bringing in those athletes really adds to the diversity of the college, adds to the dynamics of the college, and it makes the whole college better and the whole college experience better. We have, unlike before, now that we have housing on campus.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got dorms now, which makes it possible to do that.
Right, we can bring in kids from, when I coached, if I went to Kenmore East to get an athlete, that was a bit of a stretch to get them to commute all the way from Kenmore East to come to NCCC. Now you can not only go beyond Kenmore East to Orchard Park and things like that, but you can go basically anywhere you want to go. And there's a lot of kids in New York City that are looking for places to go and go to school, get a good quality education, and play ball. So Bill has looked into that. He's got players from Delaware and players from all over. So he's not the only one. ECC has folks from Nigeria and things like that in their roster too. Right. But I think he's done a nice job sprinkling in the local talent and the talent from abroad. I mean, Jordan Street's a Niagara Falls grad, and he's doing a great job for Bill. And there's other local players on his team too. So I think it's a nice mixture of both.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about a sport that I enjoy, wrestling. We'll be back with Bob McKeown right after this on All Sports Western New York.